All right, greetings. Welcome to Knowledge for Life's Knowledge Cipher at the African American Cultural Festival. And we want to first open up in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. We want to greet you all in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum, but in English it simply means, may God's peace be upon you. And today we're going to be talking about a very important topic, one that is going to affect us all here real soon, and that is the topic of food security. I wrote a book called The Inescapable Famine. And in this book, what I outlined was a famine that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said will be the worst that will ever be written of in human history. And we have to ask the question, how is this going to happen? Well, in the book, I outlined a number of things that are converging to what you could call a perfect storm when it comes down to famine. So in history, really, we see famines that were caused by extreme weather, famine that was caused by corrupt political empires, extreme famines that were caused by drought, and more. But all of these are hitting America right now. I wrote another book called How to Survive a Heat Wave in the Hood. And you may think that these two books are different, but in all actuality, the heat wave that we're experiencing all over the globe is throwing the whole ecosystem out of balance. So the heat is not just affecting us as human beings, the heat is also affecting insects, and it's also affecting farmers in their inability to grow food. Not their ability to grow food, but their inability to grow food. As we can see that when we get rain, it's too much rain. And if we get no rain, it's extreme drought. And this is all causing a burden on the food supply. So if you are able to grow food, it will be very little. And then you got to now put on top of the food that you're going to get the tariffs that are being imposed by the Trump administration will cause food to be inflated. And then on top of that, they got what's called shrinkflation, which means that the packages that you get with food in them, you're paying more for less. So that's why this forum that we have here is so important, because what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said is that we have to begin to pool our resources and do something for ourselves as a people, because we're the only ones that are going to look out for us. And I'll end it with this on the spiritual side. When we read in the scriptures, we read about, I'll point out two characters. Well, there's actually three, but I'll point out two of them. One was Lazarus. Lazarus waited at the foot of the rich man for the crumbs to fall from his table. At a certain point, the rich man fell into poverty and couldn't take care of Lazarus, and Lazarus was removed from the rich man's presence by Abraham, and he was brought into heaven while the rich man was in hell. Another story is the story of the prodigal son. The prodigal son spent all his time sporting and playing, and then a famine arose, and the prodigal son was in such a bad condition that he decided to get up and return to his father. Brothers and sisters, we have to get up, and as the scriptures say, come out of her. Come out of her, be not partakers of her sins, and we have to return back to our culture. That's what this whole festival is all about. This festival is about the African American culture. There is no culture that is self-destructive. So the culture that we have right now is a culture that is shaped out of the trauma that we as a people have been through. So now what we have to do, praise be to Allah, now what we have to do is recapture our culture, like Bob Marley said. We have to recapture our culture. And what is culture? Culture is a code of conduct. It's a code of conduct. It's how we relate to each other as a people, and it's a way of solving problems. That's a culture. That's a healthy culture. And I want to say this as a people. We are a beautiful people, and we can restructure our culture, but we have to, as the Bible said, we have to renew our mind and come back to ourselves. So thank you all. We have a powerful panel. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn over the mic to Sister Christine, not Christina. Sister Christine
Irby, RBY.
RBY. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I am from Irby's Old. Am good? I'm from Irby's Old School Farm. We're located in Trotwood, Ohio. What? Good. Okay. We're located in Trotwood, Ohio. We are primarily poultry farmers, and want to say farmers. Don't think of it as a cuss word. It was a slave word. I need you to understand that farming is no longer a luxury anymore. I need you to understand there's a mindset that comes with farming. I need to know it's a mindset to go with growing. I talked about this earlier, but let me reiterate. When you look on the back of the package and you're saying that long word come bioengineered, put it back. Because you don't know what's in that. True. The second truth is, again, with mindset, you have to grow your own because no one else is going to be able to grow food for you that you're going to trust. That's real talk. We live right across the street from a cornfield or a soybean field. Depends on the year. I am scared of when they harvest that corn. I am scared when they harvest that soybean. That's right across the street from me. And I'm a legit USDA farmer. However, I don't know what they put in that. I don't know what chemicals they blessed with to make all that corn go up. No clue. So I see that to say this. It's everywhere. Believe it or not. It is probably in our culture, in our community. ADHD, not going anywhere until we have the mindset of eating the food we're supposed to eat. Blood pressure, diabetes, sorry, cancer. I have to choke on that one a little bit because that's too close to home. When I was growing up, the best food was the country food. It wasn't even farm food, it was country food. So I say that to as a farmer, as a USDA farmer, you have to grow your own. Start somewhere. Don't start making up excuses, make it happen. I didn't know I was going to have 1,000 chicken last year for the food bank, but we made that happen. So it's a mindset, and our mindset currently right now is killing us slowly. If we're not popping pills and thrills, we're dying off with this. So you have to grow your own.
Very good, Sister Christine. Let's go to Brother Gregory.
Yes, my name is Gregory Muhammad. I'm owner operator of Oasis Farm. I have 4.5 acres of land off of West 3rd Street on Decker Avenue. I started farming probably 2011 after we purchased the land. Technically, I didn't know that I was going to be a farmer. I grew up, always had a little garden in my backyard, wherever we lived. And as time went on, teenage years, and I became an adult, but wherever I lived, I had a little garden. I went to Tuskegee in 1976. I was thinking about going into agriculture then, but for some reason it didn't happen. But during 1976, I first read a book by Dick Gregory, Natural Diets for Folks Who Eat Cooking with Mother Nature. And he actually set me on the path that I'm on today. I came home in 1978 from Tuskegee, and I first heard Minister Farrakhan. And then from that day on, it's just been trying to cultivate my life. Because see, that's where farming is interesting. Working with the earth is interesting because once you start putting your hand in the soil, you think you're cultivating the land, but actually the earth is cultivating you. So you got to get into it. It's hard work, but we are work in progress, right? So we got Oasis, and we've been doing, my main goal at the Oasis is an agricultural learning center. I got an 8-unit apartment building I'm trying to transform into a learning center. But in the meantime, we've been holding classes there every other Tuesday. So this Tuesday, we will be there from 9 to 11, 1 to 3, and 6 to 8. So we're trying to accommodate everyone's schedules. But we're living in a serious time. We're not just talking about government issues. We're just living in a serious time. And Black folks, we've been here over 400 years, and we got to get back to the earth because that's where our power is going to be. So once we get into the earth, and then we'll look at each other, and we'll see the brother and sister, and we'll get that glow that God is really with us. So we need to get back to the earth. We need to recognize that we have to be a neighbor. Every place I've been in my life, I always knock on my neighbor's door to let them know I'm there. And then over time, we actually become neighbors. They look out for me, I look out for them. And see, that's what we got to get to. This is an agricultural talk that we're having, but the cultivation is in us. We got to throw off this wicked world that we've been living in, and it's killing us. The food is bad. Our children, it has affected our children. He's going crazy. And so we got to get back to the earth. We got to get back to the earth. You got to get back to the earth. So if you can, come out Tuesday, 9 to 11, 1 to 3, 6 to 8. Okay, Oasis Farm, 40 South Decker Avenue. All right. So let's go here.
I'm Jimmy Donald, most know me as JD. I'm the founder and organizer of the 40 Acre Project. About a year and a half ago, I partnered with the Greater Edgemont Community Coalition to start what's called the 200-yard program, where we're trying to encourage over 200 residents to start their own grow operation in their backyard. We also partnered to consign what was formerly the Dayton Urban Growing Farm, which is now currently 40 Acres Farm, where I hold my main grow operation out of. Altogether, we have about 6.5 acres that we're activating slowly but surely. I'm also an activist, a community builder, community organizer. The reason I got into agriculture as it stands in the present is for self-sustainability. There's a number of reasons that I'm in, but I teach and I mentor the disenfranchised men on how to be self-sustained. And a lot of that comes from me being formerly incarcerated. A lot of what I do now is fixed in the lifestyle that I sort of left for myself after some of my decisions. And a lot of times when we come home, just existing is what people sort of tolerate from us. And me, I want people who, even when we come home, to have a chance to actually thrive. Well, we close a lot of doors when we make certain decisions. And so we can't deal with on how things are supposed to be a lot of time in the community as a standard ex-convict felons returning citizens. We have to be able to take things in our own hands and build our own. And the staple, the first pillar in that is being able to feed yourself, as well as on a political front. The biggest way to sort of circumvent the government is to take powers. and being able to grow my own food takes a certain amount of power where I don't have to depend on you. A lot of times we get into the food stamps and different things like that. You become so dependent, and the government is able to sort of manipulate us based on what it is that they give us. When we're able to take that power from them, that gives us a little more bargaining chip when it's time for us to come to the table. And so being self-sustained is my primary purpose in growing outside of, like Rupert said, what goes into our food. I've seen and I know and I've seen the sort of reaction that people have physically from eating a lot of the things that we get from our grocery store, that we should expect people to give us real food. I call it real food. And they're adding all kind of things, and like you said, from ADHD to cancers, to all different kind of things that arise from what it is that we put in our food. As well as we should, as a community, our superpower in the Black community has always been together, right? We cling to individualism in a lot of different spaces when our superpower is togetherness. There's no way that there shouldn't be 4 or 5 oasis, 40-acre farms, urban farms in each community, not just citywide. Westwood should have 4 or 5 where we can go get our own produce and our own food from. Taking care of each other and insulating each other has always been our superpower. And so the fact that we teach each other, I tell people a lot of times I want to work myself out of a job. I don't want to be necessary to teach people on how to grow. I want it to be, hey, Brother Gregory, I didn't grow potatoes this year. You got potato? I got 40 pounds of tomatoes that we can exchange, so far and so forth. We have to be able to take control of our own destiny where we can. There's a certain amount of things we're not going to be able to control, but what we can, we need to.
Okay, so this has been dynamic. Can you ask, are you okay out there? Okay, Brother JD was sharing with us what to eat. Oh, bring Sister Vaya. Yeah, Brother JD shared a lot. This brother's an activist. He's making a difference in his community. But what you heard him say underneath was the word power. That's what that brother was talking about, power. That's what this whole experience is. We have got to get power. We got to have the power to control our own destiny. We got to have the power to control our own food sources. If we're relying on other people to provide food for us, that in and of itself is food insecurity. As Christine said, we don't know what that food is. It's GMO, it's modified. It's not for our better good. So we're here to encourage all of you to join us, to be our partners, so we can gain power in the food industry. We're going to have similar talks about housing. But right now, this is about food, because we know that food is medicine. But we all know there's more than one kind of medicine. There's good medicine, there's bad medicine. So food can be bad medicine if you're making bad choices, but a lot of us don't have choices. If you're going down to the corner dollar store to get your produce and to eat out of a box, and you can't get to healthy foods like Gem City Market and some others, then that alone limits your power. And your brain suffers from it, and your children. Can you imagine what happens when you raise a child on this food that is of no nutritional value? That kid is compromised for life. And then we wonder why our kids have ADH. That was mentioned already. So we're going to think food is power. But understand, bad food is bad medicine. Good, healthy, organic food. This is what they're talking about, organic food. Best, good medicine. So I'd like to bring to the stage now a dynamic lady from Columbus. She's so dedicated and so powerful when it comes to food that she found her way all the way down to Dayton, Ohio to share with us what they're doing in Columbus. Let me give you a brief bio, and I'll give her the mic. Her name is Ruby White. She has been in this space for 20 years, and she's the founder of Jazzy Foods, LLC. I asked her, why Jazzy? Because I'm a jazz lover, so I'm thinking jazz. But she said, well, they started out with bluegrass, and they started out with some other names, but overall, they ended up with jazzy. So I think that can speak to all of us. Soul food, when it's healthy, is jazzy. Jazz music for us is a lifeline. We know we do better with jazz. And I used to be anti-hip hop. I left that alone now. Hip hop is okay. That's a manifestation because none of the brothers know how to talk positive. So this young lady has been in this space for 20 years. She's done a strong course of Bridges Plant Science. She's actually a landscape architect. She engages in the community with a special focus on power in historically marginalized community. Is Dayton a historically marginalized community, folks? Is it? Is this a historically marginalized community? Then we need her. Thank you for coming down. Now, she recently received a $150,000 grant, and that's why she's down here. This young lady can find the money. I brought money to this talk. She received a grant and has provided urban farming. Now, I like the brother saying they bought 4 acres and the other brother got 6 acres, but everybody got a backyard, and everybody got a rooftop. And we got a lot of vacant properties all over Dayton. So when you really talk about urban farming, creating green spaces, you're talking about us growing healthy food on these lots. We got to test the soil. We may have to enhance the soil. We can't go into a landfill and grow healthy products. But some of us might be doing that if you have not tested that soil. So we want to test the soil. We want to make sure we rotate the crops. We want to make sure we grow on the crops in a healthy way. Miss Ruby White can tell us how they do it all, and she can tell us where to find the money. Sister White.
Thank you. That was an amazing introduction. I appreciate it, Dr. Brown. Again, everyone, I'm so happy to be here. It's my first time actually at the Dayton African American Cultural Festival, and it will not be my last. I've seen too many vendors. But yes, I am from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised. I went to Hampton University and got my Bachelor's of Science in Marine and Environmental Science. At that time, in the early 2000s, sustainability was not yet a term. Environmental justice was something that was sometimes on the news, but mostly unheard of at that time. And it's just something about that moved me. When I went to my professors at a HBCU, mind you, to talk about environmental justice issues, they told me that was not a traditional science issue. I need to speak with the social sciences. And so there was this separation of environmental science and environmental racism. And I found this, I just couldn't let it go. And so I moved to DC after graduating and got into environmental justice work with the EPA for several years. This was during the time when George Bush was president. So we were a bit limited in what we could do, but it did help to frame the landscape for the work I would later on do back in Columbus, Ohio. I started Jazzy Grains in 2008 with the sole purpose of introducing Columbus to vegetarian soul food. That was it. It's turned into community food education. How can we get our people to embrace healthy plant-based eating without showing where the food is coming from? And so 7 community gardens later, a $50,000 USDA grant for a edible schoolyard project, and also be approved by the state to have reimbursable summer food meals that were completely from scratch and plant-based. We saw how children, their behavior improved. We saw how excited they were because we were excited to introduce this new way of eating. And it got to a point where their palate changed. In some of our youth programs that were plant-based. If we did not have lemons and limes for the water, they had a problem with us. Okay, so it was, we could see that, once we got the parents to really embrace that there shouldn't be a fear about eating different, especially when it's healthy. We saw the behavioral improvements. It just became an issue of how do we continue this program? We see that we have community gardens, we have urban farms, we have all these things in place, but many times we're very segmented. And I got into a design way of thinking, which is why I chose landscape architecture with the sole purpose of improving our food systems, especially in African American communities. And that's where we've landed. It's been almost about 20 years now. And I'm excited to share with you as we continue the conversation about the work that's happening in Columbus City Schools, how they're preparing for on the Career center and vocational level, what agriculture looks like for students who attend schools in city landscapes and what agriculture looks like in that space. I could definitely see Dayton embracing that movement as well. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from Ms. White. Now we need audience participation. Because again, we want to come out of here with a work plan. We want to build power in West Dayton, in North Dayton. We're going to use power. We use food as our power base. Where the brother mentioned that it looks like, from his perspective, Brother Gregory Muhammad, that if you're working with soil, it enhances your mental health. Can you speak more to that, brother? I don't need to put you on the spot, but you did.
I'm just trying to figure out how to word it.
It's still the truth.
I'm not a biologist, but I love biology, so I got some of that in me. And so I'm gonna say secondhand, I was told that when you put your hands into the soil, there's a bacteria that gets up under your fingernail, and I can't call the name of it. I was told, but there's a bacteria that gets under your fingernail that soothes and calms your mind. So that's one of the reasons. And then just to be able to focus on growing food, just having a different mindset. It's peaceful being out in the garden, and you just have you just start getting into God when you're into the soil. Yeah.
Hello, how you doing? I'm Curtis Peanut Johnson, community leader, one half of Fishing Network at Chill. We help small businesses go from EIN number audit business funding. We're not here to talk about that. The question I want to ask for you, because something I'm trying to work on when it comes to our children is I'm trying to think of something that'd be easy and fun for them to actually make at home. Do you have any suggestions? Maybe the whole panel can answer this. Something like they can easily make at home, something like they can actually eat as well. Because again, I mean, like growing plants and, beautiful orchids and stuff like that, you can't eat those. What's something you can actually make at home? Take it up, right?
Something you can make at home that's edible that the kids can make. Brother Gregory?
If we're talking about gardening, first you're gonna have to recognize that you got patience enough to watch a seed grow, So children, a lot of times, they don't have that kind of patience. But if you take a little bucket but you're gonna have to work with them. So parents are learning at the same time. But you just can't let the child there and expect for them to go ahead and follow through. You gotta walk them to it. You gotta put the soil and find the seed that you want to grow. And nowadays we got YouTube, so you can y'all can kind of like get a little guidance from YouTube of planting lettuce or planting a tomato plant. But if you just start with seeds, okay, so we're gonna plant peanuts. So you put the peanut seed in the ground and you water it every day. And you just explain to them, or even show a little diagram of the morphus of a seed and how, what it's going to look like when it starts to come out the ground. And then when it's full grown and you pull that plant out the ground, when you pull that plant out the ground, you're going to see, and if it grew properly, you're going to see almost 100 peanut plant pods that pull up out the ground. And it's going to say like, wow, one seed makes a million. It's just like corn. You plant corn, each one of them little kernels on there is a seed. So one seed will make millions of seeds. So it's fantastic.
Great. JD, you want to respond to that same question?
One of the things that we that I'm working in the programming now, but that I encourage new farmers or new growers to start with is microgreens. It's something that for adults too, it builds confidence in actually growing microgreens from maybe 7 days to 10 days. You'll cut, harvest, and be able to actually eat, and they actually pack with nutrients. There's a bunch of different kinds, colors, and different things like that. So microgreens is something in our community that's a sort of a farm nuance to the Black community. It's something sprouts and different things like that have been something that people have been eating for a while. But I would recommend microgreens if you're looking for something long term, stuff like beets or stuff that they harvest in short order. So, but microgreens then beets and lettuce.
Okay. I wanted to piggyback off this question. I actually have an answer because my grandson.
This question real quick. You have to grow something they're going to want to eat. So walking tacos. So I teach at the Dakota Center. So they look like we don't even buy lettuce. But if you put that lettuce with some cheese, with some ground beef, with the little Doritos, you got them. Pizza. Put the thing on pizza. Me, I grow basil all year long. Period. So that smell, and everybody came up right 10, I had to pick 3 meats, smush some leaves, and then smell them. You have to make it interactive for them. You have to. You can't just YouTube everything. You have to apply that. So microgreens is perfect for that. Because you'll be able to see that. It is nothing more magical. Everybody else will agree. Nothing more magical than seeing that harvest. Nothing. The gleam in their eyes and you very YouTube it when you do it, by the way. I'm just saying.
So let me clarify one. Let me add to that conversation about because it came up a second time. Brother Gregory mentioned this microorganism that makes kids feel good when they work in the soil. And now this sister's talking about the good feeling you get when you get greens to grow. So basically, it's not a microorganism. It is a natural body hormone that makes you feel good. It's your endorphins. And when a kid sees success, their endorphin rise. If the kids see his mom and dad hugging each other, his endorphin rise. If the kids see his mom and dad fighting, he's traumatized. He's got trauma. So success in the garden, it don't matter what you go. I like those options, but that kid knows he planted it, and when that harvest comes up, he's going to feel good. That's what's going on. That feel-good hormone is floating, and you want him to spread that to his friend.
Okay. When I taught my grandson how to print, I didn't start in the ground. Kids can't see the ground. So I used the sandwich bag method with the wet paper towel, sit it in the sun, and they actually watch it. It's still the same thing as going on in the ground. If you ask me, it does it actually quicker. So that child can actually go and look at that sandwich bag every day and see the seeds sprout. And then once you get the root, then you put it in a little pot, not a big one, a real little one, so they can actually see it sprout. And then it will sprout quickly, like within like a week or two, as long as you give it sun, water, give them what it needs to actually grow. It's going to grow pretty quickly. But I started out with the sandwich bag method because kids ain't got the patience to sit there and wait on nothing to come up out the ground. And then they walking on the ground all day. Like, how's you really teaching them to respect the ground if they got to stump on it every day? So it's a different story when you use the sandwich bag method and then they actually plant that in the ground into different respect and love for it.
And then even with that, a lot of times I have a 5-year-old and she's super excited. I had a 60-year-old who don't want nothing to do with it. But for Maya, my 5-year-old, we even plants die too. And so she's really, really emotional. And so as a grower, as a farmer, you have to learn how to roll with the punches, how to sort of be able to improvise when things don't turn out as planned. So even when things don't work out with the kids, there's also a lesson in a life lesson in growing, which growing is a direct metaphor for life at all points. But being able to teach even in disappointment with things not growing and being able to still grow and still it being okay is another sort of caveat, another part of growing that you can use as a tool to a lot of kids that I mentor, a lot of men that I mentor. Soil and growing and seed and germination, all that stuff ties into our mental health and all that different stuff as far as when we're speaking on metaphors of life and how life flows and how we are spiritually. It's tied directly into what happens when you're growing.
I just wanted to give a few resources that speaks to what everyone has shared, which has been amazing information. When it comes to recipes, There's an organization called the Chef and Foundation. Chef and Foundation. Chef and is responsible for many schools across the country of having their schools go from fully being trucked in to the actual preparing from scratch meals on that school campus, on that school site. So Chef and Foundation has a ton of recipes that are kid friendly, and also friendly for youth programs as well. And then when it comes to gardening with children, you definitely want, as the sister was speaking towards, child friendly gardening toolkits and things. And so kidsgardening.com, it's a whole catalog where they have a lot of really cool kits and all kind of STEM related things to gardening that are child friendly.
Well, I just had a statement. The beginning of all of this starts with knowledge. Our community is lacking because of knowledge. And in the basis of having a better health system in our community begins with knowledge and understanding. I heard my sister up here, you had said something about loading tacos or something like that. Walking taco. Okay, but you had said something about Doritos. And that's one of the, okay, but right. So what I'm saying is that in stuff like that, those are small things that add up to becoming big things or big problems because it has the neurotoxins in it. It has the MSG in it. Those are things that disrupt our system and also causes mental conditions in our community as far as behavior in our children. So when we put a lot of these things in our body, it builds up toxins and it causes certain behavioral reaction. So to empower that, to counter that, we should always avail ourselves to a simple tool of knowledge, and which is called the Final Call newspaper. And in the Final Call newspaper, every Black person in America should always get it. It's only $2, but it also has health tips and called How to Eat to Live. And it can empower your whole family. It can get you on the right path of what to eat and what not to eat. And it also have health sections in there about other tips and things of proper medications and things of that sort. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Knowledge is power. I said we're talking about power. Knowledge is power. Any more questions from the audience? This is the time to ask the experts if you got a question. Let me respond. Okay, come on up. But the brother raised a good point, and the neurotoxicity from Doritos. And we know that if it's in a bag or if it's in a box, it's probably not healthy. So what's an alternative to Doritos where you can still get that kid engaged? Do either of you have an idea? I mean, are there gluten-free, organically prepared, healthy Doritos? Or do we, because the kids are liking that. These kids, they got to get a buy-in. So is that a possibility? Maybe that's a challenge where we can produce a healthy Dorito. What's the panelist comments on that?
I would say that, and this is coming from an uncle who's had a vegan restaurant in LA for many years. And he said, how to reach people is with vegan and plant-based food is you have to reach them through texture and taste. And so it's not necessarily replacing the Dorito, but what's something that's of a similar flavor? Kale chips. If you have a dehydrator, you can make kale chips and season them in a way that's just like Doritos. So you're getting that crunchy texture, but also that kind of salty, spicy flavor as well. And then the pita chips as well. They, especially fresh out the oven, actually even better texture than Doritos. But it's just about, matching that texture and taste is how you can get people that embrace plant-based eating more often.
And also as time goes on, there's more and more access to healthy alternative, and a lot of them there's a base level of what it is they offer you, and then you can sort of, like you said, season to your taste and different things like that. With mine, like at home, more times than not, instead of trying to totally eliminate something, I just try to keep adding healthy things and try to squeeze it out, and opposed to just a hard stop. Because even me, there's a lot of things that I shouldn't eat that I do. But I do try to keep adding more and more healthy stuff and to start squeezing more and more the toxic stuff out. And one thing,
one thing what we're going to have to learn how to do is make our own food. We can't let the enemy keep feeding us. So we can make a triangle chip. Just don't call it Dorito. If you call it Dorito, then you think the white man chip is better than yours. It's like we've been psychologically crazy. There, stop. Anyway, just don't call it the arbitrary.
Is thrown out. Doritos are toxic. I agree with the brother. Doritos are negative. They came out of a bag. Most things come out of a bag or toxic or a box. But then this expert cone just told you it's texture and it's taste. It's not so much the Dorito. It's not so much the label. Your kid wants the texture. Your kid wants the taste. And they told us how to do it. So now we've just converted bad food, bad medicine into good food, good medicine. Food is medicine, good or bad.
Yes, sir. Thank you. My question is more of
My question is more of the participatory aspects in your agenda. What stats do you have, or how participatory are students, let's say high schools, within the community gardens and the other initiatives that you had been working on?
Question is, how are we going to involve and get more participants involved, which is the purpose again. That's what Brother Steve Muhammad wanted out of this. How do we get people to buy into your various programs? They're eager, we stimulate them. Now, where do they start?
Well, I want to say this. We're going to be forced to do it. There's a video on YouTube called The Power of Community, how Cuba survived the peak oil price. And in that video, it just really should get a chance to watch it, go watch it. It's called The Power of Community, how Cuba survived the peak oil price. And back in the 70s, when the Soviet Union fell and they were sending oil to Cuba, and the quantity from Russia to Cuba fell drastically, so they had to ration their fuel. And so they couldn't use their big combines and all their motorized vehicles that ran on gas. So they ended up, a lot of their people almost starved to death. And they ended up going to community gardens to help feed the people. And they were the government was giving people land to cultivate, and now they're the masters of it. So they're an example of what we're about to go through. And if we don't get up and do something for ourselves and come together as a community, we are really going to suffer. And those of us who are trying to encourage community gardens and growing in our own space, we need to come to those classes at Edgemont, at the Oasis, at Narrowway Farm, any local growers that you can talk to, have them come give you advice. In short.
Okay, I have one more question. It's all good. So, you talk about taking soil samples, correct? In order to find out what's the average turnaround to go from, let's say, a abandoned house to turning into an actual farmland. What is the time frame turnaround?
Well, that depends on it depends on what was in the materials in the house and different things like that. But just say we were on quote unquote bad land, the house got torn down, and we had to grow on there. What I would do normally is what we do no-till farming and regenerative farming at 40 acres. So what I would do is just to give you an exact example, is cut down where I was going to grow at, that couple layer of cardboard down, get some healthy organic soil, compost, and stuff in there, cover crop. Getting life in the soil is what help fix it most, right? And getting living organisms, creating microbiome and microorganisms into your soil. Not to get too sciencey, but soil health is important. And so regenerative farming is not a rush thing. It's something year after year that you do. We're at about 18% organic matter at 40 acre farm, and it takes a fair long time to get to that, but it's just a practice and a relationship with the land. When you start talking about putting your hands in the soil and different things like that, yes, it does go feeling like a happy feeling, but being connected to that soil, that energy is real, right? And so we're not going to have the luxury in a lot of spaces to choose good spaces to grow from. And so starting from zero, like I said, I will start no-till system with a bunch of new and good organic matter in the system. And to the brother's question before you, there's a number of different reasons on why people want to eat food that they grow themselves. And so I really feel like appealing to different demographic sensibility on why it should be, whether it's health, whether like me, I'm cheap. So it costs less to grow my own, as well as I know that being able to take care of myself as a ex-con is something that's not a question, right? And so the first place to start is being able to grow my own food and not be able to have somebody dictate when and where it is that I eat.
I wanted to just talk on what Brother Gregory was saying as far as us being forced to grow our own food. One of the things I think that we have to begin to realize is that one of the first possessions that God ever gave to Adam was to till the soil. One of the things that we have to realize and ask ourselves today as a people is we have to ask ourselves is why are our women dying in childbirth? Why are our babies dying in the first year of life? We have to ask ourselves as a people, why, black man, has your sperm weight dropped? There was a man called Zygmunt Brzezinski, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and he said that once upon a time it was easier to control 1 million people than it was to kill 1 million people. Now he says that it's easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control 1 million people. Well, how do you kill 1 million people without them knowing? You infect their food, and you infect their water, and you tell them that this vaccine is vital for their life. Really? I mean, I'm not going to tell you to or not to. Brothers and sisters, we have to ask the question, black man, when we were brought here, we all had a job. It was called slavery. But today you got to ask yourself, with millions of people on the planet, and they're coming up with what's called artificial intelligence and robotics, do you think they really need you? Man, I'm really take this all serious, because a lot of us, we're not gonna wake up. We just not gonna wake up. Some of us gonna be up. We're gonna help farm, all right, because we're gonna be in the dirt. So, brothers and sisters, I hold it back. It's called The Inescapable Famine, and I'm not trying to push the book because I'm trying to make money off of it. But in the book, it talks about how our food is adulterated. What we're eating today, it shouldn't even be classified as food. Why? Because when you read the package, you can't even pronounce some of the ingredients that are in the food. And this is, okay, so I'll end with this. We can't go to another planet and live on that other planet, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, because we're not made of the same material as that planet. But then you have to ask yourself, how are you living off of material that is not natural to the earth? It's killing us, brothers and sisters.
So just to ditto on what he's saying, a lot of the European countries will not accept poetry from the United States. because we adulterate the food. A lot of the people in Europe don't even take our beef that we're eating because it is adulterated. So he's right. This is our time to take back the power. If you're not healthy, you lose your physical power. If you're not healthy, you lose your mental power. If you're not healthy, you lose your emotional power. Why we're having so many gun shootouts and our young kids killing each other and all the other craziness that's going on, all our kids going to school and they're coming home with this special classification are saying that they are compromised, that they're not normal. It is because America has poisoned them. So let's take back our power, people. Grow your garden. Grow your garden. Grow your food. Food as medicine. Let's do it together. Thanks for coming out.
I did want to see a couple things. Melons came from Africa. So when we come about that slave stuff, we brought our own food because we didn't know. So your watermelon, your cantaloupe, your okra, that came from Africa. That did not originate from here. And stop buying seedless food. Oh, okay. Don't buy seedless food. It's not natural. It should be with this dumb boy. And bioengineering, if you can't spell it, don't eat it.
Let's give it up for Dr. Brown. Let's give it up for Wonder the panel. Sister, did you? Oh, I think we still rolling. Go ahead. Did you?
Oh, okay. Yes, I just wanted to just put on your radar that I was recently hired to teach the only agricultural and environmental science vocational course in the city of Columbus. And we're piloting this program because they're going to have this statewide program called Energy. It's called Energy. And they're going to put everything in there that's agricultural related, climate justice, sustainability, regenerative agriculture. All of these terms that you're hearing, they're going to put into this one program. And our rural schools are prepared. They're prepared to have these in their vocational and programs in their career centers. And city schools are having to play catch up. The good news is city schools are embracing these topics from a city perspective. So different forms of farming like pond aquaponics and indoor growing. We are allowed finally to say this out loud and on an institutional level and be able to teach from a workforce development goal. Because as you know, in City of Columbus, we have Intel and Meta and Amazon and all these people moving in, and they're reaching out to our city school systems about workforce. That's their conversation. And they're also mentioning things about agriculture and what that looks like in a city perspective. So just wanted to put that on your radar that, we need to have the spaces to teach this new workforce movement when it comes to agriculture. From what we're seeing with our farmers here, we're definitely on the ball here in Dayton. But yes, we need the sites to teach these kinds of things because it's happening.
Can you bring that program to Dayton Public Schools?
Yeah, yes. For the energy program, it's going to be all across the state. It's just a matter if that city school system can keep up with the curriculum.
Let's give it up once again for our panel. Let's give it up for our engineers, our sound engineers. They worked it through because we was having some issues in the beginning. They made it happen. Let's give it up for Brother Shaq, Sister Ashley, all of the there for the African American Cultural Festival. They are a wonderful, beautiful group of people. And so with that, may God continue to bless you all with the light of truth and understanding. If you want my book, it's back over there at the table. And you can download it. It's an ebook and it's up for $5. $5 on sale right now. God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.